Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life. And Professor Sunrise Productions! Hello class, Professor Sunrise here. Today we are going to take a look at the PK list, which I would have run if I competed at the remote YCS. Sadly, I had no time as I had important stuff to do in real life, so I couldn't compete. Also, I'm feeling quite ill. It's better now, but at Saturday I was very fatigued the whole day, basically, if I would have played. So it's not like I was in the best physical state anyways, so it's fine that I didn't compete. I'm really sick of this format anyways. It would have been nice to compete one last time in this format, especially because of Corona and not a lot of tournaments anyways. But it is what it is. I just wanted to give you my theory behind the deck list, which I would have run. And yeah, overall the theory behind this deck is that I wanted to have the most consistent game one possible, because I feel like PK as a deck has a very good turn one board. It doesn't need a lot of things like to put on top of it. It doesn't need Enforcer, it doesn't need stuff like that. So I just wanted to have a good game one, either by having a decent game one turn one board and then just OTKing on turn 3 if they crack it, or just having a lot of defensive cards so that I can get into the game turn 2. Because in my theory, we will always win a game 3 or a game 1 if we win the die roll. We will have 2 times going first. That's 2, not 3. So we will 2 times going first. So we probably will one of them. We will win one of them. So we just need to win one of 2 games. We are going second. So we just put in a shit ton of defensive cards. Like I think it's 11. Yeah, that's more than most of the PK lists, I say. They probably just run around like 9 or 10. It's not much more, but together with the fewer amount of hard bricks which we play, it's only 1. Thanks to not playing the Enforcer package, I feel like we have a very good time going first or going second, especially together with the Assault package, which I think most of the people are on at this point, but a lot of them are still on the Enforcer package, and thanks to the amount of bricks, go up to 50 cards, and then they miss the consistency of not seeing their droplets, not seeing their Torn Scales / Tour Guides as much. So I feel like this is a very good list. It just loses more to Eldritch because we are not playing Enforcer, but it is what it is. Even with Enforcer, we still have a very bad Eldritch matchup, so I feel like, okay, we just lose them. And yeah, let's just get into the list. It will all become more apparent if we talk about the list itself. PK engine, of course, 3 Torn, 3 Boots, 2 Cloak, 1 Gloves, 1 Greaves, and 1 Rhoda for monsters. All pretty standard, I'd say. Like sometimes people play 2 Boots, but it's just a very good extender, and you're actually lacking good extenders in this deck in a sense. Extenders that do more than just summon themselves, that is. So yeah, that's pretty standard. The Greaves is, in my opinion, mandatory. It gives you access to both Tour Guide and Rusty and Torn Scales if you draw both of them, because you can send this off to your Rini and summon it out of the hand. It's also not completely dead, together with Boots. Together with Brigandine, you have a lot of ways where you can actually get value of this, and playing the Assault package makes it so that you can actually just search Brigandine together with Stangreaves and still have an amazing play in itself. So it's not as bricky as in other variants, so I feel like this is a fine card to play, and I do not count it to like the engine requirements, because I don't feel like it bricks me that much compared to other cards. That is, it is for monsters of the PK engine. 3 Fogblade, this is what we want to end on. Being a backrow disruption is just very good, because a lot of cards like Droplet, Dark Ruler, they don't hit this, and then even if they have the defensive card, they still have to play like through like 1 or 2 Fogblades plus like a Nib, or like something in the grave, because they just dropped it at the Appaloosa and the Masquerena we ended on, and not the Rusty because they didn't have the resources for that, stuff like that. Just more than enough to just sit on 2 Fogblades after we get dropleted, and then just survive. Maybe let them end on like 1 disruption, and then just push through that thanks to the grind we have in the engine. 1 Brigandine, like I said, searchable extender, opens up Assault package, opens up a lot of plays. Yeah, nothing more to say to that. It's just a good card. For rank 3 support stuff, I'd say 2 Tour Guide together with Rusty Torn Scales. I don't know why I get still confused by them. We have 5 normals together with Rhoda. That's 6 normal. That's more than enough. We don't need more. It's just worst normal sum going second. Of course, it's not as good as Tone Scale, so I just play 2 of them so we don't brick too much on them. 2 Psychics, just a free level 3 extender. These don't buy 2, they can only be 1, though they play into Gozen somewhat. But Gozen is just the worst of the floodgates against us. So that's fine. 2 Dangers, they are very strong and by far the strongest extenders we have. These act as discard fodder for Taunt Scales, but most importantly they get trapped into the grave. Especially going second, these cards are amazing because they will usually by 6 cards not hit themselves, or like at least the chance is higher of them not hitting themselves, so they usually will give us a draw, and with the draw hopefully hit a trap into the grave. And a lot of times a play which dies to 1 disruption can extend itself to play into 3 or 2 disruptions just because the danger hit a trap in our hand. For example, if we hit a wing or a sword in their hand, or even a fogblade, we just have additional extender, which would be a dead card if it was in our hand, at least into playing into a board. So these cards are very good. And of course, they're just level 3 extenders. So even if they don't do all of that, they're still level 3s, which get themselves on the board, which is all we ask of them to do. Everything else is just a nice plus. Kagemusha Knight, in theory, this is everything. It's a dark, it's a 3, it's a warrior, but realistically, it's only a 3. So I still only play 2 of them. While they do chain block tour guide, we cut the tour guide to 2 because it is going second. It's bad going second unless we draw it with Kagemusha. I don't want to rely on that interaction too much, though just a 2-2 ratio is fine. Kagemusha is still an amazing extender, and even if we draw 2 of them, it's still fine because we can normal one and search the other. It's also important to play 2 of them, I feel like, if you want to play the assault package, because a lot of time this will be the search target of the assault. So if we start our play with 1 Kagemusha Knight and we want to search of assault, we still want to have a second one available to us. It's like something which doesn't come up too much, but it is something I feel like should be kept in mind if you think about the ratios of the cards you want to play, especially in for like stuff like these generic extenders, which all basically do themselves. You have to get the most out of their micro interactions, I would say. I don't know if that's a fucking word, which we have, and you want to just maximize the utility you can get out of them, I feel like. For defensive cards, 3 Droplets, by far the best card. I was even thinking about playing Dark Ruler main, but it just does nothing against Protoss, so I decided against that. Droplet just helps you crack every board there is in this game apart from Protoss. Against Protoss we have the good old Lancia. This might seem like a very teched out main deck choice, especially for a generically good deck which I want to have game 1, but Lancia is actually quite good against every meta matchup right now. Usually we'll go 1 for 1. Against Sword Soul it hits Protoss, which is everything we need to hit because we cannot play if they Protoss us. It also hits the Tennies and the Desires, so that's actually like 15 cards in the main deck or stuff like that. Maybe less, maybe more like 10 or 12, but one of them is like the card which completely stops us from playing. So there's that. Against Birds, this hits the Tri-Brigades and also the Pot of Desires, so that's also quite good. Makes it so that the end board has like 1 Omni Negate less, maybe 1 Omni Negate, 1 Bounce less. Against Invoke Dogma, we hit the Invoked Engine, we hit the Prosperity, so this card is quite good against a lot of stuff. It's also very good in the mirror, surprisingly. The problem about this card is it hinders our first turn board because we cannot wing Banish. Especially blind, it's hard to tell if you want to have the Pop or you want to have the Lancia, because imagine they are not playing something which gets stopped by Lancia, and we Lancia then have standby phase to play around them having Desires as their first play, or Prosperity or Extravagance, and then we cannot pop something. So these are things you have to think about, but overall this card is just there to stop Protoss, and the defensive cards are mostly there to make me get into the game going second, and not to help me make my first turn board stronger, because I don't really care too much about the first turn board. 3 Nib, just a very good card going second, together with 2 Imperm. This is like the God combo. If you draw Nib plus Imperm, we break pretty much every board. Reason I only played 2 Imperm is because of space issues. This card is very good going second, of course. It's a very good top deck, together with Droplet. We can draw them for turn and still have plays with them. But they counter interact with Brigadine, because this is a trap engrave which you cannot get out of there, so we don't want to draw it too often. The other card I wanted to play in this case was Ash. while Ash is a very good card going first together with a whole board, Ash is just that little bit of extra interruption which completely wrecks most decks. Like I said, defensive cards are not there to make my first turn board stronger. They are there for me to get into the game going second, and just one Ash isn't enough. It feels like I'm just hand looping myself if I Ash like a thoughtful player, because what am I really ashing there? Not a lot of things to Ash, so same against birds. So I just rather have the defensive cards always alive going second, always at least trade 1 for 1 in the end board, so I can get into the game. That's it for defensive cards. Like I said, 11 is quite a good amount for a PK deck like this. Now for engine requirements, stuff like that, we had to have 2 wing, or like 1 wing, 1 sword actually. These traps make it so that the whole game plan actually functions, where we want to not end on the most oppressive game 1 board, but rather have a little more of a grindier engine. And you definitely need another trap for that to work, because sometimes, especially if you get a hand trap, you actually run through 3 of your revived traps turn 1. 1 fog blade will be set, and then you use 2 fog blades to play the game. I imagine you use 1 fog blade, 1 wing, so you only really have 1 wing, 1 fog blade for the rest of the game. Disruption wise, if you just have 1 sword for that, you still have 1 wing more. It might sound dumb and like, okay, it's just 1 more card, but if you actually tested it, it comes up so much that you have the 1 fog blade more, thanks to playing the 1 sword. And of course this is a brick, but it's also just another extender if you draw it with pawn scales, or you get it into the grave with the danger and stuff like that, or get it into the grave with the droplet. So it's actually fine to draw, and similar to the BAs, they are just extenders if drawn with the appropriate starter. So I feel like they don't really count too much to brick you. Of course they are bricky cards and they will brick you if you don't draw a starter, but if you don't draw a starter, you didn't really have a lot of plays anyways. Of course you could like cloak, summon Kagemucha Knight, and that's still a play, but it's not things we want to rely on. So talking about the BAs, they're still an amazing engine, even though I can't wait to cut them for the Brave engine, because they brick so hard and Seer gets stuck into my hand all the time. Excuse me. They're just really good, especially together with the F-Zero package and the Assault package, because we get a lot of additional value out of the Seer, sometimes summoning Cherubini 3 times per duel, so that's something to keep in mind if you talk about the BA engine. But Nano is just there to make our first turn board a little stronger. And then for the Assault package, 1 Living Fossil, just an extender if drawn by itself, and 1 Renaud, the only true brick. For those of you that don't know, Assault package, send for 1 Living Fossil, summon this. This on special summon gives back Living Fossil, and Living Fossil has a lot of applications. It can summon back level 4 lower and negate its effect. So we can actually summon back Seer. It does benefit the monster, it goes into the graveyard. But if we put Seer under a rank 3, we can actually get value of the Seer again by detaching for cost, sending Seer to grave, summoning back Cherubini, and then have a link 2 to extend our plays, send another PK if we like PK names in grave. But most importantly is just additional link fodder to get into access code, because I feel like the Enforcer package, it just lacks the ways to actually end the game, and the Assault package is just there for you to actually have the resources to end the game properly, and to make a deck like this function where we don't have the most oppressive turn 1 board available to us. Let's get into the extra deck. This is, by the way, a 40 card list. I don't know if I said that, but we just want to see Torn Scales and Droplets. These are by far the best cards in our deck, and we just want to see them. F-Zero package, of course, we play the 2 F-Zeros. Yeah, they're both F-Zero. F-Zero is a very strong card. It is completely hard counters Enforcer, by the way, and this is just an amazing boss monster which we want to sit on turn 3, turn 4. This is not something we want to end on game 1, turn 1. This is just for the grind games. This is just there for us. So after turn 1, where we either OTK, and if we see like, okay, we can't really OTK them, we break their board, sit on F-Zero, and that's usually enough together with a Fog Blade and a simplified game state. Not a lot of decks can really out this. To enable the F-Zero, like hard enable it, we have Livia and Dante. Dante might seem like a weird card, but it's just there for us so that F-Zero gets additional access, like grind resources by detaching a Dante, and then giving us back Seer. So we have Seer in hand for discard fodder, So that's the second way we get additional value out of Seer, first being the living fossil. And yeah, you don't really need the second Levia because a lot of times you don't actually have the banished monsters to get into the Levia anyway, so it's sometimes just a dead card, and in that case, might as well play something which gives you value later on anyways. So that's the theory behind that. Also, Dante is a warrior, so it could go into Assault, it can mill 3, and sometimes you hit like Token Collector, or you hit a Trap, or just another PK name in general. So that's something to keep in mind. But mostly it's just there to give us back Seer if we use the F0 effect to negate. Additional XYs, of course, the 2 break swords. These cards do a lot, and they're very good. You need 1 for combo, and you need 1 for breaking apart boards. The Zeus package is mostly there to break boards. I don't know why I do it like that for the XYs. Yeah, Zeus is very strong card. You should definitely play it in Archetype, which summons XYs a lot. For links, we play Cherubini. Of course, still the cornerstone of every PK list. Unless this gets banned, we will never not play this. 1 Rusty. Pretty much the same can be said about this card. It's a little worse than Cherubini because it doesn't enable that much, but just setting 1 Fogblade and setting up another disruption in itself. This is 2 disruptions basically by itself, or just while playing the normal combos. So a very good card. The Assault package, this is just, like I said, very strong. Guys, you really need to play this if you don't already. It is surprising what the Assault does to this deck. It just takes it to new heights and makes turn 3 so much stronger. 1 Masquerena, 1 Unicorn. As you saw, I don't play in rank 4, and that's the reason is because F0 takes so much space from the extra deck. I don't have the space for it because the rank 4 is just there, so we have something to go into with the breaksword bodies, and Masquerena is something to go into the breaksword bodies with anyways. And we definitely need a generic link 2 for like turn 3, turn 4 stuff, or like corner cases where, like, I don't know, we get hand trapped to shit, we get floodgated to shit, and just a generic link 2 really comes up, trust me. And so we can take both of these problems of having something to end on and having a generic link 2 for like floodgate reasons with a Masquerena. And the problem in the past I felt like with Masquerena was that PK is very hand reliant. A lot of times it takes a lot of our hand to get into the plays, especially when hand trapped. But thanks to the Assault package of always just adding us something back, we can just get, if we need to enter Masquerena, we can just go into Assault first and get the Living Fossil and the 1 Surge of it, and then just have amazing follow-up for the next turn and enter Masquerena into Unicorn the next turn anyways. So thanks to Assault, this becomes very reliable turn 1 disruption. Therefore, we don't need the rank 4. Therefore, F0 becomes way better because we don't lose the additional disruption in our end board. And lastly, we play the 1 Appaloosa. Just a very good card. We almost always want to end on this. Sometimes we have to end on F0 turn 1 because we would lose most of our resources if we don't do that. But Appaloosa is just way better to end on. And 1 Boral Sword, I would probably play Access Code. I would have definitely played Access Code because I haven't tested Boral Sword enough, but I'm currently not owning my Access Code. It's on loan somewhere else, let's say it like that. So yeah, Boral Sword is definitely a card which I had on my radar because Access Code a lot of times lacks the damage to actually end. I just had 1 locals to test with Boral Sword, and it was definitely very good, but I didn't feel comfortable enough to play it, especially in a list which plays Unicorn and has so easy access to Access Code anyways. Yeah, but you could definitely try it, and if you guys tried Boral Sword instead of Access Code for reasons which we don't want to go into, which definitely don't have anything to do with money, guys, I got you, bro. I got you. Yeah, if you tested Boral Sword, just type in the comments what you think about this card in PKs. I feel like it is better than Access Code, but I didn't really feel comfortable enough to play it yet. For the side deck, we play Hate, a Token Collector. We play this against the best matchup, best deck in the format, Sword Soul, so we don't get Protoss. Droll, we play this against the second best deck in the format, Birds, so we don't get FTK'd, basically. 3 judgment and 1 order. We play this going first, so our end board becomes stronger. And we also play 3 lightning storm and 2 cosmic against anything back row reliant, so we don't get completely obliterated by that and actually have a standing chance against them. What's cool is that judgment is actually very good against those decks as well, so we actually have those cards to side against them, especially with the very hefty anti-combo defensive cards like droplets, lanciers, nibs, imperms. They don't really do a lot against back row decks. We really want to take out a shit ton of cards of our main deck, and these judgments just help us to make it so that these matchups are a little bit more tolerable, and judgment is just really good going first in general. Of course, a card like Anti-Spell is better going first against, or like in the sense that judgment does for us, just stopping like stuff like Droplet, Dark Ruler. Anti-Spell is better against them because Anti-Spell just completely stops everything of that. And with judgment, if they have a second one, we kind of unbrick them in a sense, but just judgment being able to be sided in against back row decks way more efficiently, just in my sense, is a better card for the side deck in my theory. What can be said about the side deck as well is that lightning storms are pretty good going first, not going first, but like in a game 2, if my opponent didn't really show me what he played because I put out my board and he bricked, or he just didn't have the tools to play into the board and he doesn't show me what he's playing, and we can just side in lightning storms and hope for the best. The main deck is very toward against back row, against combo, so a lot of times he will probably play something combo reliant, and we can just put in 3 lightning storms, cut the lanciers because they are the least generic, let's say it like that, the least generic card, and we just side in 3 lightning storms and we are good to go. And basically the side deck has been basically that for the whole format for me. These were all there in the start. These were there. These 5 cards are what changed basically, but Token Collector has been there for so long. Once the Swordsoul players all started to main deck Protoss, and Swordsoul became the strongest format in the deck in the format, these got there, and these are basically the 2 cards which I could change, or I would change, but Cosmics are just very good against the back row decks. We have basically everything which we can effectively side against the best decks anyways. Like, what is the better to side than Droll or Token Collector against Birds and Swordsoul respectively, and the main deck is just tagged out against them anyway, so we don't really have a lot of good cards to side against them anyway, so I feel like Cosmics are a very good choice for that spot. Yeah, that's basically it for the deck profile. Definitely leave feedback in the comments. I haven't tested this list too much because I didn't really feel like playing this format. It feels kind of stale. Didn't really grind on Dueling Book too much because didn't really feel the reason. I just tested Brave Token a lot anyways, and it just way more fun in my opinion to play this list, the Brave engine it is, than this list, especially in the stale format of just having Birds and Swordsoul everywhere. So I hope the battle list drops very soon and we can actually play the Brave engine, even though I'm not 100% sold on it yet. I'm pretty optimistic about it anyways. So yeah, just leave feedback in the comments, leave tech choices you would play, leave your ideas about the PK variant you are playing currently in the comments, like and subscribe, and this has been class for now. You guys are dismissed, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye.